Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger, and today doing a full tank review on the Sherman V, which is actually a British medium tank here at Tier 5. Obviously, this is based off of the hull of an M4 Sherman, the American tank. What's nice about this tank is it's got the British guns on it with their really nice gun depression. The turrets got a good bit of armor, but the hull not so much. So really going to want to use this tank's mobility and gun depression and fight on hills and keep yourself from getting too exposed in this tank. Now take a quick look here at the tech tree sliding back to Tier 5. This is obviously the new line that they added. Started with the Cruiser 1, Cruiser 2, the Valentine's, Sherman V, and finally the Sherman Firefly there on the bottom. So your other route is to go through the Cruiser, Covenanter, Crusader, Cromwell. All end up here with the Comet. So, and then take you all the way down to the FE 4202. Taking a look at the characteristics here, you'll see that you've got two Tier 5 gun options. The 6-pounder Mark V, which is on paper probably one of the more attractive guns. You've got a really nice penetration number. You've got a really nice rate of fire, but you're not doing that much damage with it. And that's why I don't consider this to be an effective gun for this tank. You've also got the 105mm M4, which obviously has a much lower rate of fire, but just horrible penetration numbers. Obviously, when you do connect, you're going to get a lot of damage points, but probably be few and far between with that pen on an HE round at this tier. And then, of course, the gun that I am running is the 75mm M3. It's got a decent rate of fire and good penetration numbers and good damage. So all around a good gun, and it's got the 12 degrees of gun depression. Taking a quick look at just the setup here. Consumable, standard for me, repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Provisions running pudding and tea, protective kit, and improved fuel. Ammunition, 55 rounds of AP, only 20 rounds of APCR, and of course you can change that here with the button to the right from gold to silver, so make sure you're using silver, not gold. And then just a few rounds there of HE. Equipment, I am running the calibrated shells over the gun rammer. Pretty good rate of fire already, so gonna go ahead and get that penetration numbers up. See here, we get it up from 106 to 111 on the AP round. Improved modules or defense system. You know, I've kind of switching back and forth on this. Don't really see too much of a difference. Primarily running defense system for the most part. Improved optics. You can see we get our view range up to 275. Not much use of a camouflage net on this tank unless you just like sitting in the back and sniping. But with a slow velocity of this gun, probably not the best idea for the tank. And then if we do decide to move down into the second level of equipment, you've got a choice here between the enhanced gun lane drive, and supercharge. I would go with the supercharge just because of the already lacking shell velocity. You'll make up for it a little bit with that one. And then enhanced armor over improved assembly. You know, this is a tough call on this tank. I'd probably go with enhanced armor. Your turret armor is pretty good, so we'll get a 4% increase to that. And then improved control over engine accelerator. Pretty much for mediums, I'm going with the engine accelerator. You know, for heavies, TDs, sometimes I'll go with the improved control because all it really does is help your traverse speed, whereas the engine accelerator is going to help you in multiple areas, including acceleration and you know, your power to climb hills. Again, though, this is a Tier 5 tank and not a great one, so I don't recommend spending spare parts on this. But if you do, I would choose the vertical stabilizer over the refined gun. I really don't see much difference between these enhanced tracks or toolbox. I've been running enhanced tracks for the most part on my Tier 9 and 10 tanks that I have fully equipped. But consumable delivery system and high-end consumables really just boils down to which consumables are you using. So you make that choice there. Alright guys, here is blitzstars.com using the tank compare, and you can see I've got the Sherman pulled up here twice, and that's just so I can compare the 75mm gun M3 that I recommend using against the 6-pounder, which on paper looks like a much better gun, but I think you're going to struggle with it a little bit because of the way this tank plays. So anyway, got the M4 Sherman, the Chinu, the Type T34, and the M7, which ironically enough has the 75mm gun M3, but they only give you 8 degrees of gun depression in the American tank. So taking a look at the firepower numbers here at 1452, we're kind of in the middle. The M4 Sherman and the Chinu obviously below that. Penetration, we are the lowest here, and we knew that going in, and that's part of the reason that this 6-pounder looks so appealing. The downside there with the 6-pounder is you're only doing 90 damage per shot, so obviously you've got to be exposed a lot more often because you're shooting more frequently in order to gain that advantage of the Sherman V with the 6-pounder. So that's why I don't recommend that gun. But you can try it out and tell me what you think. So really 160 Alpha is not any different than these other tanks, the Sherman and Chinu. So moving down to caliber, obviously this is a 75mm gun. Our shell velocity there is the lowest at 619 in this tank, which is a considerably amount different than these other ones, 28% higher on the M4 and 33% higher on the Chinu, 60% on the Type T34 there. Quite a bit of difference. Aim time 1.9 is kind of right in line there with these other tanks, right in the middle. I didn't find too much of an issue aiming on this gun. The dispersion's 0.38, and like I said there, the gun depression, would you stop, iPad? Thank you. The gun depression there is 12 degrees, so you want to use that to your advantage. Obviously, that is one of the strengths on this tank. Movement and mobility here, 48 kilometers per hour. We do get around pretty well. Obviously, the Type 34 and M7 are much more mobile. Train resistance here at 0.9 is pretty good compared to these other tanks, so we'll take that. And hit point 700's right in line. Looking at the hull armor 51, you know, it's okay. It's nothing great, especially at Tier 5 when you've got KV1s at 100. Turret armor there at 76, and you can see that is the best of all of these mediums. So again, use that to your advantage. Use that 12 degrees of gun depression. Get behind hills. Peek over the hills. If you do get shot, only expose your turret, and hopefully, you know, the rounded edges and the 76 millimeters of armor there will get you a few extra bounces. You can see here win rate of 55.3, right in line. Average damage 767. You know, again, so this is right in line with all the other tanks, regardless of the gun choice here. Getting into some gameplay, here is a game on Middleburg as bottom tier. Looking at our makeup, we are much more suited to fight on the hill if they choose to come this way. So ask the team to come up, and hopefully we get everybody up here. So we'll get to this middle berm here, and having not spotted anybody, we're going to aggressively push forward, and obviously they have gone city. So now we are going to use this tank's good 12 degrees of gun depression and stay behind this little berm. It's a long distance shot for this tank, so not going to penetrate there. Again, just being patient, letting them make mistakes. If I go down into the town there, I'm just wide open. I have no defense whatsoever. So, especially as bottom tier. So, a little bit unfortunate there. Didn't expect the M4 E2 to hit the building and stop moving there. So you can see how we're just now using this ridge line here to stay safe. Hellcat coming in and finish him off. Side of the E2, back of the E2. We have time to reload, and we do. So he's now just a one-shot, but he is going to stay behind that building for a little bit here. And we are down a tank. But you can see I've stayed up on the hill, conserved all of my hit points. And I thought he was going to pull out a little bit further than that, but he didn't. Now we are down 2 tanks. Trying just to snapshot it over the hill there, but miss. Now we're going to be able to reload in time. No. So these guys are turning around and going into town. Got a nice little track shot in to the PZ-34 there, and he's going to continue up the hill. Obviously, he's not going to have the gun depression, so we take our second shot there and back up. And look at him, he's shooting up into the air, and we finish him off. Still haven't taken a shot. And now I know that they're all in town, so let's get this thing moving. We are down a tank, but 2 of their tanks are just one-shots at this point, so I'm going to head that direction. Finish off the first one, and let's head on over to the TD here. The Nashorn. Finish him off. And now it's just the SU-100 left. So he's going to turn and show us our side, and we'll finish him off as well for kill number 4. We managed to do 1677 in damage, and you can see there we played it safe the whole way until the end when we had the hit points to go on in. And we were top on the team even though we were bottom tier. So this second game on Oasis Palm, again, bottom tier, and you can see here, 6-pounder gun. Now, I just wanted to kind of do a little compare and contrast at how much difficult it is to get a decent score. I mean, these 2 games are 30 hit points different at the end. So, you know, just follow along here and see how exposed I am for most of this game, just trying to get these shots in. So, again, we've got a nice little ridge line here that we can use to hide behind. And you can see how fast this gun does load. Driver's killed there, and I'm not sure why I didn't repair it at that time, but you know, we're just pumping shots into this guy here. And now we've got 2 tanks in front of us, so I'm going to go ahead and repair that driver. I want to be a little bit more mobile here, but you can see how fast I've got to pull up, pull back, pull up, and take a shot, and that one bounced, and pull up, take another shot. You know, this is exposing yourself a lot more than with the 75mm gun. We're getting a lot of shots in, but they're only doing half the damage of what the other gun does. So we were fortunate in this game that half of their team went to town and were too lazy to come out into the dunes. But you saw there as a good example, using that mound, using this gun depression, and you're going to see another example here. And that's why I wanted to show this video. Not necessarily because of the gun, but because of the use of this hill. This is a pretty steep hill here. And you can see we can climb up it, we can get our shot over, and we can get our shot in. The second shot here on the T14 is going to bounce. I'm going to switch over to APCR. We got a little bit lucky here because we set him on fire and get a nice big roll. But you can see right now I'm just trying this out, not moving. He takes a shot at us and it bounces off the turret. So 3 tanks left. We've got the TD right here in front of us. KV2, and I think it's a KV1S maybe still alive. Yeah, there's the KV1S. So obviously can do a lot of damage, KV2, KV1S. So certainly playing a little cautious here, and I'm keeping an eye on this guy. He fires so we can drop over the hill. We should shoot his gun mantlet. But you can see how fast our reload is, and we can get our kill number 1 in. And get a nice little shot there on the side cheek of the KV2. Now it's pretty much over. But it almost felt exhausting watching this game back at the number of times you had to shoot to get 1706 in damage and 1 kill. 18 shots penetrated there, so obviously we were exposed each and every one of those shots, of those 22 shots we took. So that's why I prefer the 75mm gun. Okay, so back to the 75mm gun. We're on Mirage. We are bottom tier, and you can see we're only one of 2 tier 5s in this game. And I'm just gonna push hard straight to this nice little spot to get some spotting in with this bush right here. Obviously it's a little bit too steep for any of our gun depression, but just waiting to see if we see anybody coming across, which we don't. And T-34 spots up first, and we get a shot into him. I'm gonna back down the hill because I'm kind of expecting them all to be on the side at this point in time, seeing as I didn't see any of their heavies going to the waterfall side. So since they're all going to be on the rail side, I want to get behind this berm and start pushing the edge and obviously get to some safety here. So that Type 58 is spotted up. And I've got a guy over there. Looks like he's in a little bit of trouble. So we're going to push on around the SU-100Ys over there. We've already lost our KV-1S. Yeah, not much to say about that, really. So I don't want to push around too far. And I know this guy's AFK, but, you know, I don't want to get myself into a bad situation. I can turn and run from here. So just keeping an eye on those 2 guys. And I see the Sherman's coming around. So we'll focus on him now. Just leave the AFK guy. But our MT-25 gets taken out, and I don't have time to get another shot into the Sherman V, so we will just farm a little bit of damage here on the back of the Type 58. Looking around to see where those guys have gone. So we get a first kill, but you can see our team is already down 3 tanks now. Just unbelievably bad play here. There's the SU-100Y, no problem penetrating the side cheek there. We've lost another tank now. And now I'm just going to sit here and wait for the SU-100Y to get distracted. We're going to push forward and try to finish him off. Yeah, that's kind of a lucky shot I felt from that Sherman on the move there, just over that berm. So we're going to turn and face him, and like I said, you're not going to get many bounces out of this tank if you can get shots in on the hull. So we're going to try to finish him off, which we do here. T-34-85. VK there has no understanding of how to use his armor. And now he is dead. T-67 coming in at full ramming speed and takes me out, but we get 330 damage out of it. Quite an abysmal team. You can see here we do 24-27 damage, good for a mastery badge, but next highest is that VK and his 492. So horrible game all around from my team, but it did give me a mastery badge, so there you have it. So here we are as top tier on Black Goldville. Looking around, looking at the makeup of the team, not sure which way we are going. Obviously, my preference is caves. So we'll start heading that way. I'm just keeping an eye on the tanks behind me. And I've learned, obviously, through experience playing this game. You can see how far up ahead I got of all of these guys, that when you get a bad team, and you get bad teams quite a lot, that you can easily push yourself into a lot of trouble. So I decided to stay back and obviously not push too far forward. Unfortunately, that first shot just tracked the Sherman V. And we got this Leo sitting right here, so I want to take him out. I am spotted, and gonna go ahead and trade shots there with the Sherman. Missed that shot. Is he gonna come around? Yeah, we'll finish him off, but we trade shots again. Never a good idea to trade shots. Maybe with the exception of if you can get a kill out of it. Leo's up here in trouble, and we miss another shot there. Finish him off for kill number 2, and now we're just kind of peeking around the corner, seeing if we've got eyes on us, and sure enough we do. PZ3 bounces us, waiting for the reload. And just looking to see which area needs my attention the most. And our AT2 is getting surrounded at the moment. Not much I can do about that, unfortunately. I'm just waiting for this M3 to pull on through. Gonna go ahead and drop adrenaline and try to get this M3 out of the way. He's got a good gun. Like to focus on tanks with good guns, which is why I went with the Leo. Unfortunate that one. I was still moving a little bit and we tracked him. There's the AMX there. Is he gonna give me a shot? Yeah. Take a shot there on the top of his turret, and it pens. They're starting to circle the Stug there. So obviously want to try to help him out. We can. Trying to keep an eye on the PZ3 and what he is doing. I'm not too worried about him. He's got a low damage shot there. Unfortunately, unable to get rid of the T-67 before he gets rid of our TD. So now I'm just trying to back away, but obviously that doesn't work because I hit a tank. And taking some small shots one at a time here, just trying to get rid of this guy, and trying to stay away from the AMX, but obviously he's going to come in here, use his speed, and finish me off. So not a lot of help from the team on this game, and that happens, but you notice I didn't push too hard. I stayed in safety, and then moved on in for the kills when it was appropriate. And so we finished with 1882 in damage and 3 kills. 15 shots landed. You can see not a lot of help from this team. The second game here of Fort Despair as top tier goes a little bit better. So keeping an eye on our team. They're all over here on my left, and sure enough, there comes the call to go left. So looking at this tank's mobility, we're up to about 40 kilometers per hour here. And I'm just cruising around. I'm being pretty aggressive because I don't expect them to be coming this way, and here they are. There's the KV. I accidentally shoot there, so we'll go ahead and back up. And just trying to shoot through the cracks, and that must have been a crazy good shot from that KV. And we're having a hard time penetrating him. There we go. Finally get our first shot in, but we've taken some damage in doing so. Again, just trying to shoot through the top of these rocks so that we're only exposing our turret. And you can see the BDR bounce the first shot there. So now we're getting some good shots in, and we can finish him off. Shot from behind, so don't think it's critical for me to turn around as we've got 2 tanks over here, our KV. Nice shot here on the run on the Hetzer. See if we can get one more in. Yep. And see, I've taken a couple little shots there, but not too concerned about them. But I want to come around here and stay with the KV-1 for a little bit of protection. Was hoping that T-28 would expose himself there, but no such luck. And so we finish off the Hetzer. They've got 2 left, T-28. We've got 4 left, and the Crusader. So I'm going to swing left here. There's some nice spots here, obviously, around these broken walls that I can essentially get hull down if I need to, shoot over this rock. But I decided here I'm just going to push hard on the T-28. He's paying attention to the KV. And then we can back behind the wall if we need to. And he gets taken out just before we can reload. So 1 tank left. Obviously this game is going to end with a W. Thought this was kind of funny here as we come in and ram the Crusader, and you see the KV shot. Guess he was shooting heat or something, or I guess it was HE. But anyway, he misses. So we finished this game off with 1654 in damage. We did 3 kills. It was good for a level 2 mastery badge. 12 shots landed there. So you do have 2 gun choices there, with the 6-pounder being better penetration and a higher rate of fire, but obviously half the damage. And you've got the 75mm gun, which is the one I prefer. I seem to do better with that tank, but you might be different. You know, this tank is just not good being exposed and out in the open. So find a good mound, hill, whatever to get behind, and only expose that turret if you can. So anyway, guys, hope you learned a few things about the tank here today and can roll with it a little bit better. And as always, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.